Okay, this is Reverend Joseph Andrew Jensen Sr. I got some very big news for you, and from it's something I never expected. I only learned about it last night. Uh, I wrote about it today, updated things, but I still don't really know what's going to happen. All I know is I'm only like 3 days away. Well, actually, about next Wednesday. Next next Wednesday, my Social Security check comes on the third Wednesday of every month. I get $1,542. When that gets here, I already got plans to get me a brand new Verizon uh, Apple Apple 15 uh, Titanium Max Pro. Okay, from Verizon. Plus all the trimmings, plus a set of Beats headphones. Now I've got to have a 3-year contract. And it's going to cost me $469 or something like that. Uh, and then it's $149 a month, which I can afford. I've been making things with chipped old uh, phones and podcasts from uh, well, this computer it's going to stay. It's going to be my computer, but I've been making this stuff with old phones, and since the phones just came from Jordan, or only came back from Jordan on the 21st of June. The 21st of June, so I haven't been back long. And it's already just the 10th of July now. What I've learned since I've been home, I learned how to make podcasts. I never made a podcast before then. Now this is my 10th podcast. I had a crash course, or crash course trial and error. It's good enough for what God wants to do. It's not professional by no means. Nothingness about me is perfect, or ready to everybody's standards. But I publish everything the best I can, as few mistakes as I can. But I don't really. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. I'm autistic. I get off track. Let's stay on track. August the 1st, I'm getting the headphones. I have a doctor's appointment already made for June the 29th. Otherwise, I will be flying sooner than that. I'm going to Sacramento, California. Will I be staying with my friend, the guy that's been with me since we were in the service together in 1970? At 20 years old. Now I'm 72 years old. Um, like I said, we've known each other 50 years. He's a Christian. In fact, it's one of his names. To me, he was named Tom. His name's been a lot of things. But because he's born, his actual birthday name is Christian DeLong. Uh, he will be. We've known each other for 50 years. For what reason? We're fixing to find out. He claims to be a Christian, and he argues with me about God. Been doing that since we met. But that's God's been the glue that's held us together, a lot together over the years. Many of the stuff that he has brought up and told me and together, and we've watched a lot of things happening together and speculating about certain things. So in other words, like secret societies. We dipped into looking into different things that happen between the secret societies and what's going on. And because I knew him, I found out things that I needed to know right now that I'm going to talk about right now because it's the end of time. Time's run out on the world. God knew that when he came to me. But God's been waiting for me. He's not just been waiting on me. He's been waiting for 5G. He's been waiting for the phones. He's been waiting because this couldn't be done before now. You're back in a horse and buggy and he said, how far would the word go? Now we have to communicate with the whole world and get something done really, really fast. Now, I have not understood up until now how it's possible to reach billions of people just in 2024, let alone 9 billion. But God's going to do it starting August the 1st. It's finally coming to you in a way to do it. And really, nobody has any choice. They have no choice. Because I'll mention this, it's secret societies, Rothschilds, Illuminati, even Bill Gates, people like that. Over the years, have mentioned things and been suspecting things with blockchain and everything that's coming. People should have had known these things existed. We've known about the secret societies. We've known about the Illuminati. We've seen movies about it. We also know about. It just so happened I heard Bill Gates say something 50 years ago that's needed to be talked about now because right now I'm broke. You can't sue me or touch me because I'm broke. And in reality, I'll never have anything because I don't keep anything. That's the point about GODScoin. When GODScoin gets here, it's fast. I'll never even see anything because it's immediately whatever a person spends or donates, it immediately is dispersed among how many accounts there is. So if you was to give me, for instance, 70, okay, first off, when everybody gets a GODScoin, it'll be for every dollar that they spend or donate. So if you give it, if I receive $70 for a book, set of books, you'll get the books, but you also get 70 GODScoins. When you get the 70 GODScoins, that's going to pay $40 for one book and $30 for the other. You get 2 books, and they'll be sent to you right away, as fast as you can get. You can get them, but understand it's not like I can give you that 2-day delivery because those books are going to be coming from the publisher, which is Author House. Not me. I mean, I published one book, but they published the original. But those 2 books I'm asking, the original, the first and second book, 30 for one, 40 for the other, $70, and you'll get 70 GODScoins. And when you get $75 GODScoins, I also get a duplicate of that. Every GODScoin's dated. Every GODScoin will be dated for 20 years. You got 20 years to spend it, use it, or lose it. That's the way GODScoin works. Doesn't sound like a very good deal. Then it's not very attractive. It's not like Bitcoin where you have it forever. The problem with this world is God knows money's sitting there in banks. Money's just sitting there doing nothing. It's only held for security. That doesn't comprehend to God. God says, why is this doing this? It's not being used. It's stopping because people hoard it. Because people hoard it, people steal it. And because people they steal it and they wait too long and they wait until it's the whole idea of saving doesn't make sense to God. That's what I'm finding out now. And God says, no, that I just finding out where God's coin's going to be paid for, and you're going to see that in the next month. You have no choice. America has 240 million people. And to be honest with you, there's 240 million people. 240 million people need will collect to free God's coins to everybody, for every baby, infant child. I'm thinking about stuff I hadn't even thought, but now it's getting big because I'm able to concentrate and think about something. Every newborn to the oldest person in the household. If the person in the household is not related, they're a friend or this is somebody that's staying there, just as long as they're part of the family unit or the household, you go to the bank and open a GODScoin account. Because when I say 240 million people live in or in the United States, I'm not caring whether they're illegal immigrants. I don't care whether they're Christians. I don't care if they're what their religion is. I don't care who they are. You are part of the count of the population of people that are in there. Whether you're illegal, whether you're not, it makes no difference. Whether you're a man, a woman, an old person, like a newborn, it makes no difference. Yet everybody in that household, though, needs to be has to be run by at least one 18-year-old person. Okay? That's because of the banking. Now, you're going to get 2 GODScoins automatically. My website's going up when my paycheck is here. That's what the iPhone is for, and that's what everything's for. I need to get you have the iPhone ready. It's starting a new business. I don't need any glitches. Not with my phone number, not with phone calls, not with the thing, and I need it for 2-step verification, 2-factor, whatever you want to call it. That never made sense to me. That's going to end too. All this 2-step verification is going to end. I was a crane operator for 35 years. Nobody came between me and my levers but God, and I couldn't push a lever or pull a lever until God pushes a button or pulls the lever first. Right? And it was like when you drive in a car, same way. Nobody comes between you and God. So when you got a verification, you're as a third party to come in there, and they actually can stop the conversation. End the conversation. They're strangers, but yet they're going to verify that I'm me. When in the phone has facial recognition, voice recognition, fingerprint identification, and grip identification, besides the passwords, besides the questions they can ask you, and even the things you can provide, like your social security number or driver's license. The thing about it is, that phone is the most secure thing that you have. Now you are only, this is what God's doing. Everybody in the United States, just for opening my website, my website, God's ministry, go to the web store. It will be working. It will be working by August 1st. And when it's working, claim your 2 GODScoins. Now, don't do anything else. You're not going to get. Nobody's going to send you 2 GODScoins. Just wait, unless you ask for it. And if you ask for it, I'm going to send you $2, and I'll send you $2 at my own expense. Second day delivery. So I'll be out, $4 or $5. It's only worth $1. $2. So you got to earn $2 just by getting it. Now, here's what's going to happen. When GODScoin comes to you, You're going to have buttons there. It'll say, okay, I want to claim my God's coins. And it's going to say, do you want it right now sent to you? Or on November the 16th, the day after voting in elections, that God's coin will cost any American, anybody with dollars, any person that has a dot thing, will cost $50,000. So, are you going to get if you want the money to claim your God's coins, your two God's coins? There, you don't have to. There's no physical God coins. It's just on my record. It's on my website. I know your name, and you claimed it. You gave me your name and your address, and you claimed it. And I have the date that you, and I also know the date that you claim it. Okay, it's because it's dated. Because as I said, they're dated. You have 20 years to use it or lose it. So basically, I'm going to hand everybody $100,000 because you already have two God's coins, so you're not going to pay $50,000 a piece. But what else is that telling you? You have from right now, when I get there in August, when I make be ready, because when August comes, I'm going to make 2 podcasts and tell everybody. One podcast is going to announce the other podcasts to say, okay, the first podcast is not going to be able to answer questions or answer questions. It's just a podcast like this one. But the next one is going to set up a podcast where I can receive. Anybody can ask questions on the internet. By messenger, whatever. They see the podcast and they can jump in and ask me questions and answer. And I'll be there whatever time it takes. Whether it's an hour, whether it's 2 hours, whether it's all day, I don't care. That everybody needs to know as much about this as they can. And that day that podcast will be the longest podcast known. Okay? Believe me, I'll have it set up in a way, making sure it's not going to be, how do you say, blocked, stopped, or broken into, or whatever. Okay, now I've kind of learned how to use this, so I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to say, end this video for a second. Okay, I'm back. It's a learning curve for me. Okay, I've already learned so much about making these podcasts and getting on. It's even getting where I can make the podcast and it's on. It's immediately on YouTube, and I'm the first one that pulled up. I don't know if it's because of my name being so long and so different, or just the word podcast. But it seems like the word podcast and my name, that I have no competition. Immediately, that's the first thing that pops up. I've already checked it out. So I mean, everybody's gonna hear this message, but because they got to hear this message, because what's gonna happen if you remember what I said? Whatever dollars you send in, amounts you. Well, I will say I will. There'll be God's coin will be worth $1. Meaning, if you donate $100, you'll get 100 God's coins. If you donate $1,000, you'll get 1,000 God's coins. Okay, and each one of those are going to be worth $50,000 if you keep them till November. If you want to just hand me to hand you back the money, because you see, every time I give a God's coin, I have a duplicate given to me with the same date and everything. I mean, it's like you're getting this identical God's coin. I get the identical God's coin. That backs up the God's coin. Okay, that is the security of the God's coin. So if you want yours back immediately, you can get your money back immediately. You can get it right back immediately because the next one doesn't. But now I'm not. I would go broke if everybody was just claiming their two God's coins and not getting anything. But here's the thing: it's all the ball's in your court. In November, you could have been a millionaire or billionaire. You could have. Think of what. Just multiply everything times $50,000 that you give. The worth of your home or whatever. You're gonna go through the website. It's always gonna be through our website. It's not available on the stock market. It's not available nowhere else. It's completely legal. And as far as the treasury and the keeping up with it, that's what the banks do. That's what they do. Now, and look what they could still do the same thing, but now look at how many more customers they have. I'm expecting, basically, I'll be the richest man in the world if this pulls off at $240 million. So people get there and even gives to the $1, that's $240 million. But I want you to take everything you have, because if you hold on to the day after the elections, you hold on to your money, and you don't buy into God's coin, you're gonna sit there like the person with the mark of the beast on them, getting the 666. You're like, okay, you're going to be a disease because you're going to be amongst everybody else that didn't. I don't. That's a bad example because I shouldn't even mention Revelation because that's a BS. The whole thing of Revelation is nothing but BS. God's always intended to build heaven back on earth. It's never been changed. All this is man-made by, guess what? The Antichrist. The Antichrist that wrote Revelation. It wasn't John. It was Paul. And Paul was the Antichrist. You don't want to believe that? Don't believe it. And don't take the God's coin. Hold out. Because you're mad. You think, whatever you do, I don't really care. I'm telling you that when I open this website, I'm selling you God's coin. Now if you think you're going to think about it, you don't have to think about it because people will make up your mind for you because there should be a rush. If not, after I make the podcast and answer questions, it will be a rush for everybody to get to that website. And simply, there's going to be a place there. It's going to be called a donation. It won't be called donation. It'll be called purchase God's coin. Dollar for dollar, you're purchasing God's coin. It's not a donation. There's no donations about it. It's a purchase. You're purchasing God's coin, so you're spending. spending is not taxed, right? So you take whatever you have in assets, I don't care if it's gold, you silver, whatever, you liquidate that, and you borrow against it. I don't care whatever you do. You just go ahead and go to the website and you deposit it. Now, what happens when that happens? The split second. I mean, the motion happens. The split second that I received, the banks received the money, it's immediately divided against and sent into every account, available to everybody in their account. Now, does that make sense? But it's going to be, so there is not going to be anything saved. In other words, there won't be anybody being millionaires or billionaires until November the 16th. Then what's going to happen in November the 16th? All your money is going to be safe, dollar for dollar. You're changing it from whatever God's coins you have accumulated, all everything you are is going to be just like you still have the dollars, but now God's every one of those God's coins you collected is going to be worth 50,000 times more. So that makes everybody in the United States a millionaire, billionaire, quadrillionaire, whatever. Now the world now you see what's going to happen with the rest of the world. And they're not going to be able to get God's coin. Certain ones are not going to be able to invest. Jeff Bezos won't be able to invest. I won't take his money. I won't take Bill Gates' money. I won't take Satoshi Nakamoto's money. And I won't take Donald Trump's money. They're, I know who they are, and I refuse, just won't let them cash in. Because God has plans for them. You'll see the plans already been talked about, and they're already written down, and they're already sent out letters and everything. Of course, Donald Trump, he was supposed to already have negotiated something. They had a chance to negotiate, but they didn't. I already sent Donald Trump, and usually Donald Trump is the one that would be listening to God. Right now, I guess he's too busy. Like, everybody's too busy. Christmas holidays, I was there calling it the rapture, and it was closed for the holidays. And New Year's, on New Year's Eve, when I was in Houston, Texas, it was closed for the holidays, so I couldn't get hold of Joel Osteen. So I had to stay in Houston till the 6th, the following Sunday. They say, I wish I could have talked to you earlier, but I need donations, at least the loose change from everybody in your building. Just ask for the loose change, not even dollars, to get me enough money to go see the Ayatollah. I was headed to the Ayatollah without thought, and God just told me, don't worry about it. Let me do the talking first. Okay? That's another story. But the idea is, what's going to happen in the next couple of days is if everybody understands this, you've got 240 million people in the United States, and they're going to have God's one. For every, if you turn in every dollar you have, or even if you have other things, you have Bitcoin, you have God's coin, gold, you have silver, no matter what commodity you have, you liquidate it to put it in God's coin. Why did I say that? Because there's no way that they're going to give you the kind of the money that we're talking about. Is their money going to go up $50,000 in one day? Bitcoin just got to 60,000. It's just like now it's, and they've only reached 20 million people. We're talking about 240 million people. 240 million, over 10 times, 12 times as many people as GODScoin will have GODScoin. So basically, Bitcoin's has to cash in the money before why they're giving the warning. Satoshi, I'm telling Satoshi that he's going to be the single investor, which he's about $186 billion is about what he has, more or less because it fluctuates. But he's gonna be directed to only invest in the Congolese franc in the Congo. He's got 106 million people in the Congo. Not even a billion. Hundreds. I mean, no, there's only a billion people in all of Africa. So there's 106 million people in Congo, and so his money, as soon as he gives his 200 million, it will be one Congolese franc will be equal to the dollar, the same one. The thing about it is they're already, the Burundian franc is very close to being the poorest country in the world, because between Burundi, the country I'm giving to Donald Trump is 8 billion. Is worth 5,000. It takes 5,000 Burundian francs to make a dollar. So if it's worth a GODScoin, it's worth $5,000 more. A GODScoin's worth 5,000 times. So if Donald Trump only has 8 billion, multiply that times 5, not times 5,000, because we're talking about dollars. Times $50,000. They're worth $50,000 a piece, because I'm taking. They're getting $50,000 from Donald Trump. I mean, $8 billion from Donald Trump at $50,000 a piece, times 5,000. Donald Trump is going to be a quintrillionaire. There's never been such a thing. It's even a new word you have to add to the dictionary. How to speak, because quintillion has never been a word used. The last word ever used in the dictionary is quadrillion. But now you're going to have to go to quintillion. The thing of trillionaire, when you add the A-I-R-E on it. So, it's been never used in that kind of sense as having an air. In fact, it was, everybody in the world is going to be a millionaire. Because you see how fast it can go. I'm doing one country in one day. Has one day. It's going to realize, boom. Because it's going to be the first day when I hit August the 2nd. By August the 2nd, everybody should know what's going on. The news reports and everybody. So when I make, they should even know that when I make the podcast, people should have already started buying GODScoin from my website. And if you're going to buy things, you might as well get something for it. I'm asking people to buy my books. Okay, my first book is worth $30. My second book was worth for $40. For that pair of books, I want $70. It gives out 70 GODScoins. So you get something for it. You're not paying for the books anyway, because even when you give you the money, I'm going to give you 70 GODScoins. The next day I'll refund you back that I'll send 2 days. you back the 70. It's totally refundable the next day. The GODScoins. Why would I want to keep you from getting? Because I know that the GODScoin is going to be worth $50,000. If you claim $50,000, and I don't have it to back up, but I do have it to back up. You know what I'm saying? Because I've got a duplicate on me that's holding the security of your money. Now, once GODScoins gets out there totally throughout the whole world, and even in the United States, especially in the United States, just to start in the United States, immediately on November the 16th, by November 16th, and everybody starts cashing in, everything changes because when you go to the bank, you're going to go to the bank on November the 16th to cash in your GODScoins, and you know what's going to give you? They're going to give you that phone, brand new phone. Representatives of the phone company will be at every bank. The banks will choose which kinds of phones and who's going to be the people that have to set them up. They're going to have to set up your phones with facial recognition, voice recognition, fingerprint identification, grip identification, how you hold the phone, and of course, your other things. It could be your name and your password. I don't want to know the addresses. I don't care about your address. I don't want social security card numbers. I don't care about. The banks don't need any of that information because that's what's going to happen next. That voting is first off. They set it up with all those things, and they close the phone. Then you open the phone. You're 18 years old. You open the phone, and the banker will put all the accounts, everybody's accounts in the household, from the newborn to the oldest person in the household. You're going to have everybody's account there, so that because one person, it's 18 years old in that family, will have to actually go to the bank and do the family banking for the week or for the day or whatever. No longer will anything be by debit card, by credit card, by anything. It's just like, well, I don't know about the credit card, but it won't be done by debit card. Not on this account. So what I'm going to say is, as soon as that happens, and you have that phone is also registering you because you're 18 years old to vote. Everybody that receives that phone will be voters. That means there's only 240 million voters in the United States. 240 million voters. And what's the first kind of vote that they're going to vote for? They'll be able to say, oh, we want to vote by phone from home. The first vote's going to say, we want to be able to vote from home, by the same phone. This phone will have two ringtones and two numbers. And one is for the bank, and the bank only will know that. The bank won't even turn it over to the police without a warrant. It says, well, no, I take that wrong. The police will have it. Because what's going to happen is the next question is, because you're 18 years old to 40, they're going to ask if you want to become a member of God's services. You want to be enlisted in God's services. At that point, you keep working wherever you're working. But but that person, you're no longer charged that labor. Your employer does not pay you labor anymore. You're just there to do your job. God's Living Ministry will send that person at their request, you and another person, to take your job for 4 hours a day. You'll only work a 4-hour day. At least you only work 4 hours for him or her or the business, okay? Wherever you're at. The other 4, you're going to have a clone that's going to work for you, so the person out that takes your place. And you two are going to have to know each other real good to be just as capable, right? So you're going to be like a team working that day to get whatever you guys discuss together done. Take over. Then you're going to go to kindergarten. You're going to go to kindergarten, and you got to sit in there in a kindergarten class 1 hour every day. And well, you're going to learn in kindergarten. You might even have to, it won't be running in that period. It'll be that one 1 hour. You're going to be there 1 hour to learn whatever they learn. They're supposed to learn. If you already know it, you're there as a teacher's aide or a teacher. You're still going to spend that hour, even if you know all the information. Because every day you're going to speak a different language. So everybody's going to learn 7 different languages starting in kindergarten. That's in the United States. They won't speak the same language every day. That's in the entire school. You know, and that grade, kindergarten, they'll speak whatever languages, the 7 main languages I choose, God chooses. I speak for God. I'm God's messenger, and I'm the hands and feet and mouth of God. I've already gone, like I said, to see Joel Osteen. If I return there, plan to return there next month. I'll see Joel. I'll see. I've been to Africa, going to Bujumbura. I've been to Cairo. I've been to Petra in Jordan. And people already know what I'm going to do in those places where I've been. Preparing the world. So you got a good reason to be a little bit nervous. Especially if you got a lot of money. Don't worry about it, because all you're going to do is getting it out of you got fair warning from now to November. They get all your money off the dollar and into GODScoin, where it's safe. Now, I'm still going to pay dollars with payrolls, cash GODScoins out with dollars. But I'll be giving the $50,000 out per GODScoin. Okay, what I'm saying? So if you're earning the basic, you're earning a GODScoin every month. That's $50,000 a month for doing God's services, for going to kindergarten for an hour and doing your job for an hour. The next hour is going to be in martial arts. You're going to be in a martial arts training, and you're going to train the basics in a martial art called Kempo. But if they teach it, but you're going to always be in a martial arts class for an hour. The other part is you got 2 hours traveling time to get to those places, to get to work, to get to the kindergarten, and to get there. It doesn't matter if you got a PhD, you're going to go to kindergarten. If you missed anything the first time, you're going to relearn it. Well, you're going to learn what you missed, or be relearning what you might have forgotten. Okay? That's basically it. And because of GODScoin, everything's going to be free. Education's going to be free. Daycare's going to be free. Hospitalization, daycare, geriatric care, any kind of facility, anybody place, it's going to be free. With treatment, cash collections, road workers, it doesn't matter whatever we're doing in the world today. Even if you're just working at a grocery store, putting things on the shelf, or you working at McDonald's, you just at McDonald's. The person that owns that McDonald's will not be paying you anymore. You're on our payroll, but you'll be doing a fine job with them. Now, because everybody in it, when they include everybody, you're including criminals, you're including idiots, you're people who think everybody. We're talking about 204 is a head count. But then things have changed because everybody's got a family and everybody's got so everybody's got all the money in the world. They won't be stealing. They got a family to take care of and a future to take care of to build. Because that's immediately when you become a millionaire. If you had the money given to you right now, just available to you right now, $1 million, what would you be doing? Would you be sitting pondering things and looking through catalogs? No, you'd be out there physically looking for that property, dreaming, partying. You're darn right you're going to go get you some champagne or some beer or wine. You're going to go out and celebrate. You're going to go to the finest restaurants you can go to. You're going to eat the thing. You're going to party. You're going to go to dances. You're going to have fun. Let me give you a clue. Even when I was in Cairo, I told this story before, but people are new here. When I was in Cairo, and somebody offered to go down the 523 flights of stairs, 135 steps to the street, because we're on the 5th floor. It's a nice view, but if you got to go down that many steps, and it's all doesn't work. Elevators, the lift doesn't work. It's like that movie called Big Bang Theory, where they blew up the elevator and it's been roped up, and since they're always having to go up all those stairs. Well, that's what it was. For a person like me, I ate once a week. I didn't make that trip but once a week. Even the young people, they didn't eat no 3 and 4 meals a day like they would if they were living on street level. Because they had to think twice about going up that stairs. That was a long ways. The point is, so I was there. I went, and what was I doing there? I went where God wanted me to go. He's the one. I did. He's the people I've met, and the people and things. Those were all. This was a preordained date meeting. God already knew I was going to go. He already knew who he wanted to see. He knew why I was there. I had no clue what I was doing. But that's why on my website you're going to read about the miracles, the coincidences. There is no coincidence with God. You guys will understand God. And now you're going to understand what God is. He lives in you. This is proof. The proof that lives in you. How come I'm the one that only one that understands it or believes in this? Because if you believed in it, then why aren't you listening to God? Why aren't you paying attention? Why didn't you say something? Has anybody ever told you this? No. They're ignoring this. They don't want to believe you. God's up there in heaven. We're going to take the good old gospel skip. Far beyond the sky. And to hear the angels sing. Boom. Those are the stories that you guys have. It's not rocket science, but it was more than Einstein could comprehend. It's more than Gandhi could comprehend. The smartest people, and it should have been the smartest people in the world, turned out to be some of the stupidest people in the world. If you didn't recognize where God lives. And then you're going to let something like a two-party verification come in there and say you're not you unless you can identify something. Everything asks you to look at a picture and put it together, a puzzle. Put this together. Which car's parked this way? Which one's parked that way? Which fire hydrant is here? How many fire hydrants? How many parked cars? How many bicycles do you see? All this kind of crap that's in front of us. These are jobs that are going to go away because I'm paying now for everybody's job, and I'm getting rid of jobs faster than they go. Anybody that took how many years to develop the software for blockchain and algorithms? This history. It didn't. It's not even going to last. That technology is not going to even last 2 years. Some doctor. I found out in Cairo, a doctor, cardiologist. I'm not sure of his name, but his name was Muhammad, because he was a Muslim doctor. But Muhammad, he also knew the name of a pill that people can take this pill and they can die in their sleep overnight, peacefully, no side effects because you're asleep. Everything starts shutting down and you sleep straight through it, and you don't never wake up. Now this appeal is already being made, and now it's up in the United States for FDA approval. It's not sold in the United States yet because it's got to be approved by the United States, but it's still being made. Now, I'll be honest with you, 2 weeks ago, or maybe even less than that, I would have been willing to take that because God left me for a week. I didn't want to live. I could feel I lost God. He wasn't talking to me. I don't want to live in this world without God. I can't live in this world. God quits talking to me. If that pill's available, I'd certainly be taken. Think about when this world is offered that choice, and if it would continue on like it is, throwing you problem after problem after problem after problem. Sure, you got your aches and pains. You got your own aches and pains, and you got your own problems where you're living. You're getting through the next day. It's like they can make it so you don't want to live. Everybody don't want to live, and they can thin this world out. And what's keeping them from shaving all their hair off? Doing the same thing as somebody that has their hair thin and goes ahead and shaves it all off. This is the same difference. The people are going to be thinning out because they wanted to die, and so it's going to finally get to the place where the whole world's going to be bald. If they kept on the way it is, they can force the problems on you faster than you think. Wherever they wanted the problem, wherever they wanted to thin out, all you do is make life miserable. That pill was their answer. Now, what I'm about to mention his name, but you guys know it because I've already said it many times. But the people behind this, that pill, I'll go ahead and say Bill Gates. How do I know that? Because 50 years ago, and God put it into my memory. He's the one that had me 50 years ago here on TV. Bill Gates say, nobody needs to live past 50 years old. He made that comment. I remember as clear as day when God reminded me. He said, "Remember when I told you, showed you this to watch this on TV?" Bill Gates saying that, and I remembered it. So it just only took God to remind me to pull it up in my memory. And that's the way my mind works. I'm autistic. So he said, "What it is? It's God who told me that," and I said, "Oh yeah, now I know it's why it's relevant." He had me see that 20 years ago, because I know he's the one that said nobody needs to live past 50 years old. That's part of their agenda. Why do you think the blockchain is? It's to change the algorithm, make the algorithm so that people can be criminals and get away with murder, get away literally with everything. everything they're doing. They'd be the worst criminals in the world, doing the worst things that there is, and nobody would ever know it because of the algorithms. Not even the banks would know. Not even police departments would know. They could just work under their nose. As secret societies. Every war that's ever been started, every war that's ever been, has been put together ahead of time by Freemasons. Freemasonry has their hands on every war that's ever been. If not the Freemasons, which they are still Freemasons. The Knights Templar were Freemasons. The Illuminati are Freemasons. Okay? So you might as well just say, when you got the Rothschilds are Freemasons. These things are some sick puppies, especially in the Rothschilds. You don't even want, most of you don't even want to know what people in Hollywood and the actors have done and gone through, and their initiations to get up in the ladders. And once they start getting in the circles with doing sexual things and taking drugs or whatever, because of what that it's held against them, so they can't really tell nobody because they're black. They're being blackmailed. They put themselves in that position. So as their careers would only go up if they weren't getting an acting job. They're not going to go to that next acting job. I don't know what the very good actors with Jason Bourne or these people like Kenu, that's on The Matrix. These are very good actors. What they have done in order to stay behind the cameras. But I don't want to get into it. God knows, because that's what who's talking. I'm listening to God at the same time I listen to you. Since God started talking to me in 2019, he hasn't stopped. He talks about things and he doesn't hold back, just like I just mentioned Donald Trump's name. He calls the names. And what are you going to do? Sue me? Go ahead, I'm the richest man in the world. And you got 20 years to use it or lose it. So even if you got the $186 billion, and you exchange it into GODScoins, you got 20 years to use it or lose it. You can't pass it on to generation. Every generation is going to be richer than you are anyway. They have more time to earn GODScoin. And as servants, because the world's not paying labor anymore, everything's free. Electricity will be free. Everybody's going to be able to invent. They're not going to be talking to each other or anything. Everybody's going to be saying, hey, I'm going here, I'm going there, if they talk to each other at all. Because everybody's going to be busy building their own lives. What's caused this world to be like this is because everybody is not been doing anything but listening to each other, theorizing. Religion is all theology. God's been here all your life. He's been in you since you was conceived. You can't never die. You're immortal already. Why can't you die? Because you're living in your children are living in you. You're immortal because you're always living in somebody in your bloodline. Everybody in the bloodline is living in you, and you're living in them. Does that make sense at all? It's your children, so you're living through them. So you can't really die because you're immortal in living death. In the Lord's Prayer, it says, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." How can you do God's will if you're not doing if you're dead? You're not dead. You're alive. You just can't see. But have you ever seen your backside? your own butt? No, of course everybody else has, but not, whether you're naked or not, I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Everybody else can see your back. Sky. But you ever seen your own tonsils? Maybe with a mirror. Have you ever seen one? You ever seen the back of the eye? Not unless you go. You got the equipment. That's what I'm saying. God lives in you. You people live in you. They live in your DNA. Can you deny you have DNA? DNA can put you behind bars for life or put you on death row. It can, if it finds your DNA at a crime scene, whether you did the crime or not, it's enough to get you in a bad situation because they're gonna match you up with the murder or murder weapon. What I'm trying is getting off track here because the thing about it is this next month ought to be everybody be uh, on their way to becoming millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, quadrillionaires. You understand what I'm saying? Those four people are signing their thing. Jeff Bezos, you're the richest man in the world, $2 billion. But your money's gonna go to Africa. They take the whole continent of Africa. That includes Egypt and Nubia. I'm gonna pause this again. Okay, I'm getting used to that now. The nature calls. I mean, I drink a ton of water every day. My daughter's house, and she has very good water here. And then she takes pictures and puts pictures of her water in the refrigerator too to keep it nice and cold. And so I drink water constantly. Oh, you guys understand that the world's going to change overnight. I thought the last one that be helped would be the United States. I had no clue that God was going to pull this off. He said, "Well, it's actually those that in the United States will be the first." And it's the blackmail point is saying by November the 16th, the day after the election, even if Donald Trump might probably be president, what is he going to have to do? I'm going to tell Donald Trump what he has to do if he's president. He's got to continue what he started, tried to do the first time. He needs to make sure. When I worked in the nuclear industry, the first thing you do, when I worked at the Savannah River plant, that's called the bomb plant in South Carolina, part of the nuclear thing what makes plutonium. You have clearances there. You got with the blue badge, you can get away with anything. Those people are at the highest security clearance. Now, the people in the White House stay the same way. They have the high clearances. You got a blue badge in nuclear, you got a yellow badge, you got a red badge. If you're a red badge, you have to be escorted everywhere you go. You got blue badge, you still got to be escorted. Uh, if you're in certain areas, by one blue badge can watch 12 people, or they'll give you the number of people they can only be around. So it's the nuclear industry. If somebody comes under suspicion of anything, any suspicion, anything crime, criminal, or anything like that, they pull their clearance. Tell them go home. You can't be trusted to be walking around a nuclear facility, especially like a bomb plant, with secrets. Go home. We'll pay you. You're not going to lose nothing. Just go home. But the government's been paying for the investigations, and they're expensive. In this case, GODScoin's going to pay for people have GODScoin, and so your accounts are there. They're going to be frozen. You're not going to be getting paid. The money's going to be dropping. The GODScoin account's going to be dropping every day that you're at home. But you can't go nowhere. You're under house arrest, kind of. You can't use your phone because it's being monitored. Private investigators, not the FBI, CIA, because they're all part of the problem too. They're not going to be in any of the investigations. It'll be everybody and his mother, bounty hunters and private investigators, will going to be paid to dig up the dirt at your expense, as your account. Pull it out your account, whatever you need. They're going to find something against you to indict you. In the meantime, you're not going to be able to interfere with anything. You're just told to go home, don't get it. Had they did that with Nancy Pelosi, had they done that with Loretta Lynch, had they done that with Joe Biden, had they done that with Obama, had they done that with even the senator that died, the woman senator that died in California. All these people, they wouldn't have been able to. The guy in the White House, I can't recall his name, but he's the one that held meetings with Democratic meetings in the White House, and nobody could hear what they're talking about. And yet he was the one that was in the question. And everybody should remember who I'm talking about, because I can't call his name at the second. But what I'm saying is these people stayed in power to interfere and make more accusations, and stayed in power, and they were able to get and keep him from doing things. When in actuality they had no business being in the White House, or even especially conducting business. If they're the criminals, and they were the criminals, I know for sure. I am convinced for sure because I talked to God that Hillary Clinton was all set to declare martial law had she become president. All that part about the boats, when they counted the boats over and started over in Atlanta and all that stuff, that was all rigged. Where the people were able to send in votes by mail, that was all rigged. All part of, they kept on changing the whole system and the whole strategy. Now you're going to know why you got a phone and why the phone's going to be able to vote from home. And the next thing we're going to do is vote for transparency, so that we can watch whatever's going on in any government. The people can watch them on reality TV every day, and instead of taking so much time making decisions, let other people do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They can turn on reality TV and see what they're discussing every day, and they can give it their thumbs up or thumbs down. What power is the government going to be when you could fire somebody faster than they took to get in office? That's what I'm saying. People gonna giving everybody the power, and they're not going to be socializing because you've got so much money to spend. Plus, you got a job to do for me because I'm going to be paying you your salary, and I'll probably give everybody a God's coin per month. When I give everybody a God's coin per month, that's going to be like $50,000. I could give you per week, not I wouldn't give you $50,000 a month. God's coin. I'll give you God's coin every payday, every week. Boom, boom, boom. Not every day, but every week. So once a week you got God's coin. So what I give you $200,000 a month, everybody? You think you can't do something with that? You're gonna have more money than you can spend. Everybody's gonna have more money. You can buy a year's wardrobe and never wear the same thing twice. You can buy a car and never drive the same car every year, and you don't have to get rid of the car. It'll go to the Bear Jackson auctions in Arizona to be traded on another, or you can house your own dirt thing, or you can have your own collection for a while. You don't have to drive the same car every day. Every car dealer is only making whole lots of money, but it's not going to be making so much money on new cars, used cars. Why? Because everybody has enough money to buy a car a year. You're a billionaire. So they got to quit producing so many cars because now, but they got to also going to be able to get, your cars are going to get very nice. Not like anything. They have to build new aircrafts. They have to build new luxury boats. Luxury thing. People are going to do the thing. You got money, you going to travel first class or luxury. You're going to travel like your kings and queens. You're going to build the home of your dreams. So where's these people going to be meeting together and getting into other business? We're getting down to the nitty gritty because the relationship between you and God, nobody needs to come between you and God. Not a church, not a friend, nobody doesn't need to come between you and God. Your relationship has to be focused on things. And so guess what this world's going to do is they're going to realize they wouldn't have this with God. This is God. Specifically, God's coin come from God. The way I dreamed this up, and it was just didn't come out of blue air. He had to tell me about it, and every day until this point, I didn't really know what's going to outcome. And it's not because I just ended up, coincidentally learning from people that I met, that each one has an influence on what I'm doing and why I'm going. I wouldn't be going to Jordan if I wasn't meaning I was going to go see the Ayatollah to stop the war because I make the deal with the one thing I'm doing right now with the United States. I was going to do this with Iran. I said, if you go ahead and do the banking and put if the Iran was the Ayatollah was able to give every Palestinian a God's coin account, and the ones on the Gaza Strip, they're still going to get 1,000. They're going to get 100 God's coins per person in the family, waiting on them. They're going to get 100 God's coins opposed to every Palestinian within the West Bank or anywhere, even Bethlehem. The guy that bought my house was from Bethlehem. But these are not coincidences because Sam was the one that asked me what I'm going to do about it. And that he put the ball in my court when he knew I knew God. So he says, what can God do? What's God going to do with Palestine? about Palestine. He asked me. I asked God. God, next thing he had me on going to see Joel Osteen to take up collections. Actually, I went to two different churches. The first one I got a trespass notice on. What I'm saying is, if I had got any change out of that church, I would have been going to see the Ayatollah to make this do the same thing I'm doing in Sacramento, California. What I do in Sacramento, California is not just for the people in Sacramento. It's going to be for the whole people, everybody in this state. Is going to see where to go on the computer, where to go on that website, and they're going to start cashing in everything they own. So to accumulate as many GODScoins before the end of time, the end of the dollar, it'd be the same as if you have a doomsday, but it's going to be doomsday for the dollar. It's going to be doomsday for the Bitcoin. It's going to be doomsday for the gold, silver. It's going to be doomsday if you keep those things. Why? Because they're not backed by anything. Their gold might be backed by physically by something. I will actually be minting and producing a golden coin that's got a G on it. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be a GODScoin. I'll mint a 24 karat coin. But it's going to cost, if I had it right now, if you were in November, if gold was worth $3,500 an ounce, it's going to cost $53,500. $5,300 per membership GODScoin, just so you can show it off. You better use it within. It'll have a mint date on it too. I don't know if they will or not, because if somebody pays that much for a thing, maybe you might want to allow that one to still be worth that later. I don't know. God hasn't told me all those details. He lets me know. I'm only 2 days from telling you this. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't even know where I thought I was just going there. But I'm going to, when I get to Sacramento, I'm going to make 2 podcasts, which I'm getting good at this podcast. It's going on immediately. For a guy that's as old as I am, and just to pick up on this, and all of a sudden the YouTube's working out fine. I'm getting the message through. I'm not really the best at it, but I'll actually get to the place where I'm in studios or have studio backgrounds. I need help, and I'll be able to afford to get the help and the cameraman and things like that. So if everything works out this next month, when I'm able to get the help I need, even the employees of mine. I didn't think about that, but if people are my employees, I have employees doing setup, so I can have a podcast, and everybody knows one at a time I'll keep coming on, and we'll do it doesn't have to be a 2-hour podcast each time, but it's still going to. The podcasts are going to be there for a reason. The Weber Days is like a church service that we're going to talk about God. But with the reality of what's happening that day, what's going on that day. The stories that God has told me, they're going to be printed. They're going to be on the book sales. Everything I ever had. And I got God's version of Cain and Abel. God's version of everything. If I don't, all I'm going to do is ask God, and He tells me everything. God doesn't quit talking to me. He said, and He doesn't. He rambles on just as bad as I do. I go to sleep, REM sleep. I don't know even that. When I had those dreams, I had wonderful dreams. Well, what I'm saying, that's probably the only rest I get from listening to God. But that's a good thing. I enjoy this. I love the learning. I learn every. I've been doing this even since before uh, God gave me that gift of going way back in time. We can't get into my life on this podcast. But I'm just trying to tell you, look out, get ready. I got. I told you I got an iPhone coming with the Beats headset. I'm necessary to do this job. I have uh, only one of these. I've got to get like four more of these. I don't want to carry any more uh, luggage and such. Don't. I learned not to have so much. Don't have to have everything because you're not going to use it if you use your head. If everything goes all right, I won't be in the economy class anymore, and I'll be able to go first class. If everything goes better, I'll have people to help me. I'm always having the airport having to take wheelchairs services. I can't walk through that whole airport by my way and even get there in time. I can't see down, so I can't take stairs. You can't see down at all because my depth perception is gone. Every step it seems like it's 20 foot away. I just can't see the step. It's like a big blur to me. So whatever was happening in my eyes, whenever I'm looking down, it's completely just blanked out. That happens with people with macular degeneration. What I had. It usually gets where it's just peripheral vision only, and then it gets like an hourglass. But for me, something happened with my eyes because I only have one good eye. The other one was totally blind. I had 30/70 vision, so the 70 didn't have any down vision anyway. But I think it's not. I think it's not the 70% eye. I think it's a good eye. Can't see down. I lost my down vision. I just took a donkey to see Petra, a 2-hour climb on a donkey to see Petra. You don't think I was scared to death? I was holding on for dear life because some of the grades were straight up. And that donkey's like a mountain goat, and it goes up. And I had the grip of keep him falling off the horse. Donkey. But going down, oh my God. Was I doing some hollering? Holy cow. I used to the guy that owned the donkey and my host where I lived in his house, the Bedouin. See, Bedouins have the same belief as I do. They know God lives right here inside them. They're wonderful. They're Muslims, but they know where God lives. And they're nomadic people. And they're always having the animals. Very many animals. They're very good people. Anyway, Isa walked that donkey for 2 hours going up to Petra beside it. And why holler the whole way? He says, "You're scaring the donkey. You're scaring the donkey. You're scaring." And the donkey's name was Pepsi. Go figure. An American name. The mule they had was under the veterinary care, so he couldn't go, and it can't go where the donkey goes because the donkey is as sure-footed as a mountain goat. You get into the small cracks, crevices on rocks as a foothold, and then it takes a step. It could be a 2-foot step up or a 2-foot step down, and guess what the rider's doing. My head's either looking at where its head is supposed to be, or I'm looking up, almost straight up. I gotta go. I remember the thing, but you understand what I'm talking about. We don't talk all day like this. At least I could talk all day like this. Because God, it's not just me. It's God wants to talk. I I give God my mouth, and that's what God wants. He wants everybody in the world. When you go to get God's coin, guess what? You just gave God hands. You just give God feet, and you give God your mouth. And that's what this particular word's got. Really, you're not getting this money from on your own. It's not my. It's just like you got to. We're not recognizing why life is different than being plugged in. You're breathing, but you're also able to think about breathing. There's things that you're doing is beyond when we call life. That life is with God. It comes into you when your mother and father created you in secret. That's what the Bible would tell you. It's Psalms 139. When you read, God was there when He made you in secret. He gave you life. Then that life never gets snuffed out because you're living, whether you're living or dead, you're still alive. God doesn't leave you when you say you'll live with God in heaven when you die. Guess what? You live with God on earth too, all your life. You live with your DNA and all your family, all your life. Who knows more about you than your family? You don't have, when you say, oh, I got my best friend, I can't live without her, or him. Well, I got news for you. When you get to see if you say the same thing after you become a millionaire. Because usually, if in the normal world, if somebody, if you suddenly won the lottery, they're the first one calling for help or something. But if it was the other way around, you never see them again. If they had won the lottery and you wanted to think, you never see them again because they're going to be too busy. They never really cared about you starting out. You can't get rid of family, whether you love them or not, because it's family can always be where you can love your family, but you can also hate your people in your family. But somehow, it always works out that you always end up back together. Okay, I gotta go again. This will go on forever. Goodbye.